Hey guys, today it's all about shooting drinks, and I got some great tips and tricks for you. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're using a smartphone, DSLR, mirrorless camera, doesn't matter. Any kind of camera, these tips and tricks will work for you. Natural light, studio light, LEDs, constant lights, doesn't matter. These tips and tricks will work for you. So if that's what you're into, let's get into some shooting drinks. Our first thing we need to do, like I say on every one of these videos, on tutorials and how-tos, is planning. You need to plan your shootout. What are you going to shoot? It's a drink. What kind of drink? What mood do we want the shot to be? Light and airy, dark and grungy? You got to figure that out. Once you've figured out what kind of drink you're shooting, the mood you're shooting, what props do you need? What garnishes? What accessories? There's a whole world of that. So you need to plan it out, create your list, and create your little shoot list so you know the angles and that you're going to be shooting if you're going for more than one image. Now that we've got everything all planned out, we need our glass. So I'm using these ones here, these little tumblers. I love these. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's some nice lines and stuff on here which help bounce and reflect the light around, and it looks really, really nice in photos. So I got a few of these and they are very handy to have. Now we got a glass, but you can see I'm getting my hands all over it. It's covered in fingerprints. The worst thing we can do to our glass. Now, you can use rubber gloves. You can use latex gloves. You can use cotton gloves. There's a whole bunch of different gloves that you can wear in handling your glassware. Now, the latex and the rubber are good because it helps give you a little more grip. Be aware, though, a lot of the latex gloves have a white powder inside. Be careful you don't get it on the outside or you're just going to transfer it onto your glass. We want to make sure our glasses are as clean as possible. Hold it up to the light to see if you can see any water or dust spots or anything else like that. Make sure it's clean. You might need a little brush to brush off any lint or any extra little bit of dirt that you happen to miss. So make sure your glassware is perfectly clean before you start your shoot. Now let's talk about garnishes for our drinks, because there's nothing worse than sad, weak-looking garnish to kill your photo. Now, I'm lucky. I have fresh herbs in my garden. Not only do I use it for cooking, but I use it for photography in my drink shots and my food shots. I've got mint, basil, a couple of different types of sage, parsley. I got a bunch of different herbs in the garden that I can use, and it is fresh and it looks fantastic. The stuff from the grocery store, not the greatest. It tends up looking a little bit sad very quickly. Does that not look like a tasty drink? Look how bad those little mint leaves look now. Terrible. It doesn't take long for this stuff to dry out. So get the freshest you possibly can. Now I have the added bonus. I have raspberries, gooseberries, and strawberries growing in my garden. I even have a little bit of blackberry. It is fantastic to be able to pick fresh fruit and use it as a garnish in my drink shots or as a dessert. Now today I'm using fresh mint and strawberry from the garden, and that garnish looks fantastic because those herbs and fruit look beautifully fresh. Now we're going to talk about the world of ice. You've got real ice, you've got fake ice, you've got shapes of different ice, you've got round, you've got square, you've got rectangle, you've got crushed. All the different shapes help complement your drink. And if you're using real ice, you can get a bunch of different cool ice trays out there now, even some animal shapes. But when you look at the world of fake, you've got your acrylics here in like a cube, and they just come in a little container, and they are just an acrylic ice. They don't look too bad, but if you've got them in full view, not the greatest. But if you kind of hide them in some liquid and everything, they're not bad at all. So you've got like your acrylic, and you can get them in a little container like these. I got these at Michael's. They're not that expensive. Now, you can also get ones like this, and these were actually on a display in a store, and I asked if I could buy them, and they sold them to me. These are ice cubes again, but unlike the acrylic, and there's even a color difference between them, these are glass. And yeah, they do not float in your drink. Trust me, they do not float. So you've got different versions of that. Now, crushed ice. You can get acrylic crushed ice in various sizes. You just fill your glass up, and I don't know how well you can kind of see that, but it's kind of a crushed ice. It's a rough crust. You can get a bit finer than this, and it's something to look for. Again, you can use real, but when you're using real ice, got to be aware, this stuff melts and it gives you a limited time length and it'll make your glass sweat. Now also in the world of fake, we can really have some fun with colored reusable plastic ice, which gives your drink that little extra color pop that you might want for that summer shot. So you've got a wide variety of fake ices that you can use. Now, if you're using, say, room temperature drink with plastic ice, nothing's going to melt, nothing's going to get cold, it's not going to sweat. You got all day to play with it. Now, the one thing I will warn you about though is when you're putting the liquid in, if you get a lot of air in the liquid when you're putting it in, over time you're going to get little bit of air bubbles settling on the inside of the glass. Same as you do on a fish tank. When you fill a fish tank up, you'll see all the air bubbles come out of the water and attach to the side of the tank. Here, it'll attach to the side of the glass, so be aware of that. But there you go, the world of ice. There is all kinds available on Amazon in different shapes and sizes, but you can make your own, and you can make cloudy ice, you can make clear ice, you can even make those cool round balls out of homemade ice. Glass, ice cubes, now we need our liquid. And a very handy way to get the liquid in here without spilling and creating splashes on our surface or on the side of the glass is I use funnels. And I got funnels in various shapes and sizes, and they work amazingly well. And they're very easy to use. Insert, pour liquid, no splash. I don't get my surface wet, I don't get the glass wet. So you can see by using a funnel, it makes it very easy to pour in your liquid without creating a mess and to get to the level of liquid that you want within the glass. It works out very well. Now let's talk about reflections within glass. Glass is shiny and it's going to reflect the light. You can see on here how this side is a lot lighter and how the light is reflecting to it. If I introduce a black card, you can see how it'll change how it looks. And if I introduce a white card, how it bounces light back in. When the light's hitting here, because it's translucent, it'll bounce through and hit this side of the glass, leaving a reflection there. Now, when you're going to shoot your drink, make sure that you're studying the glass and you're studying where the reflections are. If the light source is coming from the front, you're going to have a hot spot in the front. If it's on the side, that's where you're going to get your highlighting down the side. And if it's backlit, you're going to get it through the top and you're going to get some up on the rim. So be aware of that. So the direction of your light will drastically change the reflection. Now look at here, when I use a white card beside the drink, how it bounces light back in and gives a different look to it. But you can see the reflection of the white card on the side of the glass. Now, let's have a look at it when I put a black card beside. You can see how it knocks out that reflection on that one side and it changes up the way the light reflects through the glass. So be aware of your highlights and reflections. You might have to rotate your ice or your glass to get rid of that little bit of a hot spot. Well, we've been talking about the reflection and refraction of light through the glass, how the light strikes the glass. We've talked about from the side and the back, but have a look at when the glass with the liquid in is lit from the side. You can see how the light's kind of coming through and reflecting through the side of the glass, creating that bit of a glow. But what happens when we backlight it? Wow, look at the glow on those ice cubes and that drink now. You can see how backlighting it makes a big difference. So here in this side-by-side comparison between side light, backlight, you can see a huge difference between the two of them. So you can decide what kind of lighting you want on your glass, but be aware of where that light is and the translucent of the material. You can create some beautiful glow type looks to your drinks to make them even more appetizing. One more thing to help up your game is adding fake condensation to your glass. Now, you can use different types of a dulling spray, so to speak. You can use a matte spray. Some people use Scotch Guard. Some people use spray deodorant. There's various different sprays you can use to spray onto the glass to create kind of a misted type look to it. What you need to do is you need to tape off where you don't want the spray to go, top and bottom of your glass, and the top will be where your liquid is going to end up. But you're going to spray the glass with that matte spray or whatever else to create that frosted look. Now, when you're using matte spray in particular, That stuff does not like to come off the glass at all. So maybe look for a product that removes it a little easier, maybe like Scotchgard or underarm deodorant. It still gives you that same look, but it's easy to clean. I've got a few I've done with the matte spray, and I use those glasses repeatedly because I already have that line there and I have the look. Now, just kind of looking like that with the liquid in, it doesn't look that realistic. But we need to add the condensation to the outside of the glass. Now, how do we do that, you ask? Simple. We use water, which is what condensation is, but to help it stick to the glass better, because otherwise, if we just sprayed water, it'll just run off. It'll bead up, create a bigger drop, and then slide off. Something with a little staying power, we use glycerin. If you mix 50% water, 50% glycerin in a little spray bottle, and then spritz. You don't want to spray above your tape line, so you're best to have the tape still on in place after your dulling spray has dried. Mist it with your water glycerin solution to create those little droplets, and you will have a little more realistic look, especially once you put the liquid in, then it really looks realistic. Now, in the example that I'm showing, you can see the water droplets are bigger. I made the drink look like it had been sitting just for a little bit, so those little water droplets had started forming bigger ones. If you want more of a subtle look to it, give a lighter spray, maybe from a little further back, and you get the finer misting with finer water drops. I wanted a little larger one, a little more bolder, to make the statement of an ice cold drink. So you can up your game, as I say, by adding fake condensation to go with your fake ice cubes in this fake world of drinks. Because as you saw, I was using cranberry juice to act as my strawberry mint drink of an unknown name that we just created today just for you. I have no idea what the drink is, and I don't drink that. That's kind of my daughter's thing. I don't drink the cranberry juice. Strawberry juice, I will, but that's what I happened to have handy at the time, and it worked perfect. As I say, fake condensation, fake ice, fake drink, and it looks killer. Have a look at a couple of these images completed that we did with this. You can see how well this all comes together. That fresh garnish, that glow through the liquid. How beautiful does that look, and how appetizing does that drink look? So that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. All right, so until the next time.